Hello, everybody. I'm Rick Reed, host of My Boomer Buddies podcast, where we tell it like it was and is. My brain goes back, way back, and I think of things that maybe you would be entertained to think about as well. Today's no exception. We're going to get real nostalgic. I can remember as a kid really enjoying coming home after a tough day at school, and there, waiting for me, thanks to my wonderful mother, was my after-school treat. Now, it wasn't just me. I had my 5 brothers and sisters, so she made after-school treats every day for us. And if for some reason she couldn't make it, we made our own, but it was usually something really, really good. And we'd have a glass of cold milk with it, and it was just outstanding. So I'm going to bring some of those up, see if they were anything that you had. And the first one I'm going to cover today, chocolate chip cookies. That was the mainstay. The blonde chocolate chip cookies, usually milk chocolate, not always, but that was the favorite that I liked. And when we had those, of course, we had to be fair about how many we ate. You know, I'm the oldest of 6 kids, and there's no way I'd ever take advantage of my brothers and sisters. Well, I tried to be fair, but nothing so good as that in my mind. And one thing I enjoyed doing, I used to like to dunk it into the milk. It's something really special, that combination, but not always. Sometimes I just like to savor the cookie itself without the milk on it, but I'd sure take a big swig afterwards. How about you? Let me know, comment below if that was one that you had in your after-school snack ritual, if that was part of the roster. Another one. Sometimes it wasn't a sweet. It was something like a sandwich. And there's a variety of different sandwiches you could have. The one that comes to mind is maybe a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with butter. With the butter on there too. That was a go-to as well. We usually like sweets though, I'll just preface that. And then maybe we'd have some potato chips with that or some kind of chip besides a potato chip. And that was always a treat to have that. And sometimes we'd get a pop. We call it a pop, but a soda pop. But not always. That was a special treat and not after school. But usually milk was in play. Another one, a mayo sandwich. I would have that even for not after school, just if I was hungry, you know, on a weekend. Saturday, I look in the fridge, you know, you just have that door open, and twofold the reason for having that door open, you're cooling off because you're outside playing, and you're looking for something to eat. Well, I usually made a Miracle Whip sandwich. Not mayo, we usually had Miracle Whip, and I preferred that. Usually when you had Miracle Whip, that was the least expensive. It was cheaper to make, therefore cheaper to buy. And I actually prefer that taste to regular mayonnaise. It's kind of interesting in doing my research for this that it actually was kind of a cheaper product, and a lot of families did it that way. Another sandwich that I used to like was to have Miracle Whip with cheese. And it depended what kind of cheese we had. Was it American cheese? Was it cheddar? Was it Colby? Whatever. I am a cheese lover, so I would take whatever we had. Another after-school treat was regular leftovers. Whatever was for dinner the night before. That could be in play. If there was some chili or something like that, I'd grab that. Sure, I'd grab that. I'd grab any pizza slices left over. It was all good to me. Except chicken. I don't eat chicken. Just ask my family. How about you? Anything that you like? Another after-school treat. See if you had this. Cinnamon and sugar toast. I can remember my mom sometimes mixing the two together and putting it in a little dispenser. So it was already put together, so you didn't have 2 things to throw all over. It was only one container. And that to me was really good. Soak it really good in butter and then sprinkle that on there. And that was a special treat as well. And so you just get a big old loaf of bread, the white bread, the stuff that's considered unhealthy nowadays, but back then but it sure was good. And I like to toast it up pretty good. It couldn't be too light. I wanted it pretty dark. And that was a big treat to me. There's something about that taste I really, really liked. And here's another favorite that my mother would do. She would get graham crackers out. And they could be plain, but not with my mom. She would make up some frosting. And later on, as she got busier, she would buy a tub of frosting and put it on there. Remember, with 6 kids, that was a lot of after-school treat to get together. But no, she used to usually make it herself, the frosting. And she was so good at that. And anything that she baked was a treat. And sometimes we would get cake as an after-school treat. And always, it seemed, with ice-cold milk. And the funny thing is back then is that I know that I was severely lactose intolerant. We didn't know what it was back then. We were just boomer kids, right? Just living, and you get a little gas pain, but the treat sure was good. And we used to get some treat, not after school, but usually if we're going to watch something on TV with a movie or something, she would make us some chocolate malts or vanilla malts, whatever we wanted. Between 6 of us, we had some different ideas between vanilla and chocolate. But I was a chocolate guy, and that was a nice treat she'd do for us as well. Another after-school treat, we would have some fresh fruit. I loved bananas. Bananas were really good. Apples. Slice some apples up, that was a treat as well. And we didn't usually have prepackaged food for fruit unless it was a fruit cocktail or something like that. Usually fresh fruit was cheaper to buy and is pretty handy. And also my dad worked at a grocery store. He was a grocery manager. And so we were always at the grocery store. My dad was working. I got my first job there at 15, working at the grocery store as a carryout, they used to call us. Later a stockman. And I did some cashiering, when they needed help too. But anyway, yeah, we were at the grocery store all the time, so we could always get some fresh fruit. Another treat back then, since we didn't always get soda pop, was Kool-Aid. The marketing on that was everywhere, especially on commercials, because we watched cartoons and all that. And of course, what did they show for commercials, for ads? Kool-Aid with the pitcher with the arms and legs running around. And so we usually had that around, and it was pretty good. But there was more than one way to take in Kool-Aid. You think of it pouring it out of the pitcher into our glass. Yeah, that was the main way. But we'd also take the packets and dip our fingers in there, get our fingers wet. And we would eat the powder and get a real sugar buzz from Kool-Aid. That was another after-school treat. Not always healthy, huh? But we were boomers, and that's what we did. Another thing, another treat, and this was a lot in the summer, is we would buy by the case, we called them freezer pops. Comment below and let me know what you called it. Were they freezer pops? Were they ice pops? What did you call them? That was so prevalent back in the boomer days of us kids. And so I want to know about that as well. And did you have fudge bars? Did you have dreamsicles? What other ice cream or frozen snacks did you have? I know nowadays it's a little bit different. Not so much that sugary stuff. A lot of yogurt, Greek yogurt, stuff like that. But as a kid, what did you consume for treats? I'm real curious about that. I am Rick Reed, My Boomer Buddies podcast, talking about after-school treats and other treats from back in the boomer days. I was born in 1957, so it was more towards around 1960-ish. My memories are more vivid. We sure enjoyed cookies, just being around the house, and my mom was really good at making pudding. So that wasn't quite as traditional, I don't think, as other boomer kids for after school, but as we got a little bit older, as I did anyway, pudding was in play. And I know it was really in play when all the kids were old enough to have after school treats. Any fond memories there, boomers? Friends? You don't even have to be a boomer to comment on that. Getting an after-school treat was more processed as we got older and Mom got busier and we were more self-reliant. But back when she was home most of the time, we had a wonderful after-school treat waiting for us. So what was your after-school treat? Let me know. Just comment below. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're a return visitor, hopefully you're a subscriber. Please subscribe, share, like, and comment. Love that topic. Love that topic. Hope you did too. I'm Rick Reed from My Boomer Buddies podcast. Until next time, we'll see you around the block.